Welcome to all of you to this small mini working group session on joint local action, ways to increase global impact from the municipal level through international cooperation. So as I mentioned, my name is Sarah and I'm the SDG officer at Platforma. Platforma is the pan-European coalition of local and regional governments, their national, European and international associations, all working together towards international development cooperation, also known as decentralized cooperation. And I think you are all pretty familiar with this because I've heard that you're all a very dynamic group of very engaged representatives working on international cooperation. So I'll be looking forward to exchanging with you on this topic here today. So VNG International has been a long-standing partner, actually, of the Platforma network since the very beginning in 2009. So we date back a while ago together, and we've been following closely the great examples that Dutch municipalities and that Dutch networks have been sharing on SDG implementation, both in Europe and beyond. So since the launch actually of the 2030 agenda a couple of years ago, Platforma has been specifically very involved on working towards making the Sustainable Development Goals a local reality, and of course, creating a strong link between implementing the SDGs and working on decentralized cooperation. So for us, we truly believe that city-to-city and region-to-region cooperation is really a key tool that can help speed up implementation. And it is a great way to work together using a common framework, a common language. It helps to create new entry points for partnerships across the globe, but also helps reinvigorate existing partnerships with peers across the globe and innovate them a little bit. I see our speaker Delphine is in the room. So we have really been amazed at how cities and regions have been pioneering together on the world of SDG localization. And I'm really delighted to welcome all of you here today and to listen to your stories. I'm delighted to welcome our distinguished speakers who are very great Platforma partners as well. So welcome to Vanessa Corrales from Fons Mallorquí and Delphine Le Rouge from the city of Roeselare in Belgium. So I have a short mini quiz to ask to all of you. I don't know if you can raise your virtual hands, but otherwise, for those of you who have your cameras on or with your reaction, with the reaction button at the bottom of the screen, you can just put a thumbs up. Who here in the room actually has a city-to-city cooperation or has a decentralized cooperation activity? Don't be shy, really. It's just between us. We're a small group of 20. So I see not that many, but I'm guessing that a couple of you at least know about it. That's why you're here or want to know more about it. So, okay. Well, don't hesitate to write also in the chat so that I can know who's in the room. Okay, great. And who here otherwise wishes to enter into a decentralized cooperation activity but doesn't know how yet? Okay, well then if you do want to know more about it, just let us know as well. And this is the moment to ask all of your questions. So we're going to start by sharing some concrete examples of what a decentralized cooperation activity can look like, and especially how innovative they can be using the SDG framework. So for this, I'm very happy to give the floor first to my colleague Vanessa from Fons Mallorquí in Spain, who is going to share a great example of partnerships from across 3 continents, so Europe, Africa, and Latin America, and how she's been working together with peers on a common priority, which is that of water, so SDG 6. So Vanessa, are you with us? Are you connected? I see you're in the room. I don't know if you can connect. Well, until Vanessa can maybe try and connect, otherwise I can already give the floor to Delphine, perhaps. And Charlotte, you can maybe check with Vanessa if everything is working for her.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. So until we fix a quick technical issue with the camera of Vanessa, I'm going to then give the floor to the city of Roeselare in Belgium, so Delphine Le Rouge, who also has a very, very interesting project to explain to us. The city of Roeselare is the laureate of the Platforma Awards a couple of years ago, which is a yearly kind of award ceremony where, together with a distinguished jury of representatives from the European Commission, from international institutions, NGOs, civil society, we kind of award the most prestigious and successful decentralized cooperation activities. And they won very recently, and we're happy to have them here because their story was really a great one to tell. And I'm going to let Delphine tell you more about it, and especially what they have learned from this project. Delphine, the floor is yours.
So in the meantime, I can start introducing myself. So I'm Delphine Le Rouge. I work as a civil servant for the city of Roeselare, and I'm happy to give a more explanation about our project, Zero Children Without Birth Certificates. So the next slide, you can see Roeselare is a big city in the province West Flanders, so in the heart of the province West Flanders, in the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. And we are a city of about 60,000 inhabitants, quite famous for our beer Rodenbach. You can come to Roeselare for fun shopping, and we have quite a lot of organizations that are busy with processing food and so on. Maybe the next slide, if it's possible. I don't know, yes. So here you can see where Roeselare is situated in Belgium. And then the next slide, you can see that since 2010, we have a cooperation with Dogbo. And Dogbo is a city in Benin. So Benin is situated as a country in the western part of Africa. And it was a campaign in 2008, 2009, I think, by our Flemish government that encouraged communities and cities to look for a partner in the south to work with. So we started step by step by looking for a partner in the south, and we launched a call, and we had about 23 proposals. And Dogbo was one of them. And at that time, they were working together with Ridderkerk. And Ridderkerk is a city in the Netherlands. And they worked well together. They had different projects. And that experience they helped us a lot in the beginning with our projects. So what is important in our city-to-city cooperation program is that we work on encouraging good governance. So we exchange knowledge. We work together, especially me as a civil servant. I work together with my colleagues who are also civil servants. And that the reciprocity is very important. And also I added in the presentation the value respect. Respect is a very important value in our cooperation. Okay, maybe the next slide. There you can see our mayor. At the left side, you see our mayor, the mayor of Roeselare, who already visited, I think, 3 times Dogbo. And I'm showing this photo because it's not only a cooperation between technical people, between civil servants. Also, the political support is very important in our cooperation. We work on encouraging the capacities or building capacities of our politicians too. And also we work with the civil society. That is very important. Behind the mayor is the alderman of Roeselare, who is already also very involved, very dedicated to the project, and he supports it a lot. So without that support of our politicians, of our civil society, it's really a necessity for us. We already have a non-profit organization in Roeselare that is called Dogbo Dogbo, and that supports social projects in Dogbo. So that's also very important for us. We have, in the meantime, in those 10 years of cooperation, also schools that work together. We have 3 schools in the Roeselare that has a partner school now. So that's also very important for our cooperation. Okay, next slide, please. you can see at this slide a girl who's holding a paper that is very important. The girl has her birth certificate, and it's her ticket to the future. Without a birth certificate, you have no passport, you cannot go voting, you have no rights. So we call them spoke children. And in the beginning of our cooperation, we noticed that a lot of children has no birth certificate. It was not directly that we came to that subject. You can see on the next slide that in the first discussions with our partner city, they wanted to work on archiving on an archiving project. Here you see the closet in Dogbo where a lot of papers or documents lie that were totally destroyed by termites or by the bad weather conditions. So there were no strategy, no system for archiving the documents. But as we had discussions with the head of the service who is responsible for the civil registry, we were directly interested in the case of the birth registration, because there were a lot of problems on that topic. And you can see on the next slide that there was no, it's not the yeah, okay. There were a lot of problems. Okay, there were a lot of okay. The slide with the problems and the actions, if it's possible. So there was an okay. There was already some, okay, thank you. There were already some investigations, and we noticed that only 60% of the children were registered in 2010. So as I explained, that means that they don't have no future, no rights, and so on. So together with Dogbo, we analyzed the procedure, the chain of the registration. And we made a plan together with some actions. We took action for awareness raising, for securing the data, optimizing the procedure, and Dogbo decided to recruit an extra staff. So from the period of, I think, 2011, 2012, we invested about 10,000 euro each year, especially for training, for awareness raising, and for IT equipment. And Dogbo invested also in extra staff and in software. And our main objective was to organize an efficient birth registration to give access to equal rights for every child in Dogbo. Maybe the next slide. Yeah, okay. They were a bit mixed up, the slides, but I can say that with all the actions we have done, we realized a lot of things. For example, we organized training for about 150 actors that were formed. That means that not only civil servants who are involved in that birth registration, but also politicians, people who are working in hospitals, everybody who is involved in that process was trained. And we didn't organize it 1 or 2 times, but I think it now has organized for many years, because after each election you have to reorganize the training again. And we are also happy that in the meantime we regularized also more than 1,400 children, because as we started in 2011, now a lot of children have a birth certificate. I can say that 100% of all the children have now their birth certificate, but it means also that children who were born before that period don't have a birth certificate. So that means that when at the age of 12 in school, they have to do an examination, and they don't cannot have a diploma if they don't have a birth certificate. So we organized a big campaign to regularize that each year. We also organized a lot of awareness raising activities. I explain a bit later on what that is, the cinéma numérique. And also Dogbo is now a case that is very unique in Benin, and more than 40 organizations, national and international, came to the surface of Dogbo to learn more about the projects. Okay, the next slide. Yeah, you can see in the beginning the SDGs were not, we didn't have the SDGs, but now you can see that SDGs, they're linked with a lot of SDGs. It's not only important for the children to have their birth certificates, but it's also important for communities to have the data. If people are registered, it helps the community to make plans, to make a vision for the future, and to make responsible choices. For example, if you know how many people have given birth, how many children of that age are in your city, you can make plans for building schools, make plans for employment, and so that systematic registration is very important for planning the future. And you can see that achieving the goals, the sustainable development goals, is very related to a project of the birth registration. Okay, maybe in the next slide. Here you can see one of the main activities that we have done. I explained already that we organized different activities, different main group of activities, and one of the activities is the digitalization of the birth certificates. So every child now that is born in Dogbo, the birth certificate is directly inputted in the computer, but also all the other millions of other acts of birth certificates and also other certificates are digitalized in the last years, and for that they recruited a lot of extra staff to do all that work. You can see it also on the next slide, where I think about 14 people were for weeks and weeks were putting all the data into the computer. Okay, on the next slide, you can see staff. At the left side, you see Maurice, and Maurice is head of the Service of Civil Affairs, and he's also the project leader of a project, and he's very dedicated to the project. And you see also the staff of the district. So Dogbo contains Dogbo has 7 districts, and every district has its district office, and in that office they also has to do the registration. So I explained that a lot of people were involved in the training, and these people on the picture also had a lot of training to do the procedure in the right way, because we noticed that people in the past made a lot of mistakes. So it's very important that everyone is involved in that training. Another action that we did, and you can see it on the next slide, is awareness raising. So there was a concept that existed in a lot of countries in Africa, and it's called the cinéma numérique. And it is an organization that comes with a jeep and a projection screen and a generator, and it goes to every little village, even if there's no electricity. They go there, they start animating the people, and they show first comic video, and then they show a little information video that is very important for the people, for the parents, and explains the importance of having a birth certificate. So that was very important. The video was shown to all the inhabitants of Dogbo, and it was an important element for working on awareness raising for the parents in all the villages in Dogbo. But a part of that, years after, we continued awareness raising also in the churches during voodoo ceremonies, but also in women groups and so on. So the awareness raising activities continued years after years. Okay, and after that, on the next slide, you also see that Dogbo recruited extra staff. So I explained already that in Dogbo consists of 7 districts, and every district has now an extra member that does the follow-up. So that means he or she goes to the hospital once, twice, or 3 times a week to see how many children are born and to do the follow-up of the birth registration. So we are quite sure now that 100% of all the children that are born in Dogbo receive their birth certificate every day now. Okay, the next slide. I think you can see on the next slide that, okay, I already explained this one, I think. So, and this is the slide with the Platforma Award prize we won in 2018. So we were the first city that won together with Dogbo this prize for our project of decentralized cooperation, and we were very happy because with that prize we won a reportage of 20 minutes. That is a very nice reportage and is seen also on the website of Platforma. But this prize is also very important for the recognition of our work we have done with Dogbo. So it's a prize we are very thankful for. A part of that, on the next slide, you can see me and other colleagues of Flemish cities and communities. And together with our partner in Benin, we are working on other projects, such as the support of the local economic activities in Dogbo and in other communities. So you see also Carleen of the VVSG. VVSG is the VNG of Belgium that is supporting our project in Dogbo on working on the local economy, supporting the local economy. On the next slide, you can see normally our exposition. So last year in 2020, we celebrated our 10 years cooperation with Dogbo. Normally we would have a big party. We would invite our partners from Dogbo, but due to Corona, we couldn't celebrate. But instead of that, we made an exposition that is now seen in 6 different places in Roeselare. This is an example of a part of our exposition that is seen in the hospital in Roeselare from the beginning from March to the end of April. And it gives a bit of explanation about our project of birth certification, birth registration. And we found it very important that all the inhabitants of Roeselare know our partner in Dogbo, know what we are doing. So a part of that that's a pillar with the birth registration. We also have other themes that are explained in other columns in the city of Roeselare. So awareness raising is very important for us. And on the next slide, you can see that we do awareness raising about the SDGs also. On the left photo, you see a campaign that we organized during an event in 2019. And the campaign was called Everybody an SDG Hero. So we had 2 people that walked around and did a little quiz with people that were on the events. And apart from that quiz, we gave people tips and tricks to work on the SDG in everyday life. And on the other photo, you can see our SDG game. We have a game in Roeselare, a competitive game that you can play with little groups. And during a walking tour, you get to know other organizations and other projects in Roeselare that are working on achieving the SDGs. So it's a nice game and a low game that helps us to get to know the SDGs in Roeselare. Okay, thank you. That was my presentation. On the next slide, you can see also, if you want more explanation, you can see the link to our website, also my email address. The website is in Dutch, so only for Dutch-speaking people, I think it's interesting. And as I explained also on the website of Platforma Award, you can find our reportage that has been made in Dogbo about a project of birth registration. I don't know if there are questions.
Thank you very much, Delphine. It's such an amazing project. And we know that the video that we have helped produce with you has been super successful, very welcomed as well, and easy to look at. And it's a very, very stimulating project. So well done, because it's a huge amount of work that went behind it, and you still are following up on it. So it's amazing. I think there must be some questions from the room. I've been told that Cornelia has a question. It would be great if you can maybe ask it yourself to Delphine. Cornelia?
Hi, sure, of course. Thanks, Delphine, for the interesting presentation. I was wondering if you can comment on whether this initiative is scaling to other communities. It'd be nice if it's not really only for Dogbo, but really maybe for the entire country, and then perhaps also in other countries in Africa that are lacking these kinds of solutions. It'd be great to hear more about how that's working. Thank you.
Yes, we are working on that. A part of the fact that people, or Dogbo, the service in Dogbo, give explanation to other cities or communities in Dogbo. But we also now we are working on other training, and we are involving other the city or the communities that are next to Dogbo. So that's important for us also, because of Dogbo says it's very important that the communities next to Dogbo get to know also the importance of having or using the right procedure. And unfortunately, we also applied for a European fund, but unfortunately we didn't achieve this one. So we are really trying to how you say, to enlarge the project, to scale it up.
Maybe if I may, just a quick follow-up to that, I'd be curious to hear from an IT perspective, or the software. Is it at all open source, or is it something that by design it makes it quite easy to transfer and scale if other organizations or municipalities would like to adopt the system?
There are the program or the software that Dogbo is using now is already used by other communities, but I think I don't know the number, but I think maybe 1/3 of all the communities in Benin are using now software to digitalize their birth registration. So this one that Dogbo is using is used by others, but there are already other software that exists in Benin. So, and it's also supported by not that software package that Dogbo is using, but it's encouraged also by the national level. So it started. It's becoming very important in Benin also.
Thank you, Delphine. I hope that answers your questions, Cornelia. It's amazing how this project touches upon so many different aspects, on this digitalization, on so many of the SDGs that you mentioned, and this is something that you identified after focusing on the SDGs. 1 second, I think somebody needs to be muted. Voilà. So yes, it's great to see how you managed to make the connections also with the 2030 agenda once the project has already started. Is that helping you actually now in the future phases of the project? Are you now considering the other SDGs that are not involved yet fully in the project in a certain way, or are you going to use the agenda to help ensure the sustainability of your project?
Yes, I think it can help also for, I think with this project, it touches already a lot of SDGs.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important to use that framework for other projects we are doing now, because right now we are working on a new plan for the supporting the local economy. And I'm quite sure that we will use that framework, that SDG framework, for our planning, as a planning tool or as a compass to make our plan. So I think we start using it more and more, I think.
That's great. I will give the floor in 2 minutes to Koen. I see the hand is raised. I just wanted to profit from this opportunity to highlight that there is a new training module that came out. I don't know if you're all aware of the UCLG series of training modules on the SDGs. So it's a training for trainer modules. So far, there are 3 modules on awareness raising, on planning, and on reporting. And a 4th one, together with Platforma, just came out a couple of weeks ago on decentralized cooperation and the SDGs. So to help participants of decentralized cooperation projects better understand the links with the 2030 agenda and vice versa, how their projects can really enhance the implementation of the 2030 agenda. So I will probably try and share with you, if not now in the chat, later in follow-up messages for sure, information on this module, and I'll be happy to provide more information for those of you who are interested. But it's definitely a tool that can help perhaps also you, Delphine, if needed, work on this current project and new projects together better with the 2030 agenda. So I think Mr. Koen Rosemeyer from The Hague, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, has his hand raised. I would love to give you the floor if you're still with us.
I'm still with you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, very well, thank you.
All right. Well, the pronunciation was good. My name is Koen Rosemeyer. I work for the Hague Academy for Local Governance, which is a training organization for people working in or with local governments worldwide. First of all, thank you for the presentation. I think it's a very nice project, and also after explaining the importance of these birth certificates, I think it's a great result to see that so many people were able to get their birth certificates as a result of this program. So congrats. I have 2 questions actually, if there's time. The first one is, of course, it's an exchange you mentioned between civil servants and specialists, but also politicians. I was wondering, first of all, if there were some things in common, or what was in common between those different, between the municipalities, and what was completely different. So yeah, what was different, what was the same, and was also something you could learn as a municipality from the municipality in Benin. Like, was it a 2-way street, or did it all go one way? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What was in common? I think a lot of things were in common, although there are great differences, and yeah, it's Benin is really a poor country, but the way we organize our administration, the way the procedure of birth registration is done, has quite some similarities with our way of doing it. So and also it has a connection. If you, yeah, the objective of a local community is giving or provide services to the community, and it's also the objective of a municipality in the south. So you have a lot in common, more than you can think. A part of the differences that are made. And your second question about the, I forgot, it was about the, I forgot the second question.
Yeah, no, if I can ask again. So the question, first of all, thank you for your first answer, and it's interesting to hear there's so many things in common. The second question was, if there were also things your municipality learned from this partnership.
Yeah,
So
okay.
things you took from Benin.
Yeah. Okay, this is also that is sometimes a tricky one, a tricky question, a question that is that pops up a lot of time. But I think it's very important. There are quite some things we learned, like the way they organize their way of participation with how the participation process is organized with their civil society. So that is a thing we learned about it, but it's not also it's not always that easy to learn to point out the things we learned from Dogbo. But there are some things we have learned, the way they organize reunions and so on. It's more structured than the way we do it. So it's more in the small details, the small things, I think. I hope it's a bit an answer to your question.
Thank you very much, Delphine. It's good to see that it's a mutual learning experience in the end anyways, so that's great. Just a quick information before we move on to the next speaker, Vanessa. So I hope that she managed to connect. So you are the laureate of the Platforma Awards 2018. In 2020, the winners of the Platforma Awards, the first prize, was awarded to DIBA, so the Provincial Council of Barcelona, and 6 municipalities in Morocco on a project linked to local democracy and gender equality. So we will be happy to share with you also in the chat, and I think maybe one of my colleagues has already done so, more information on the latest award that we granted in the context of the Platforma Awards. So without further ado, and because time is passing, I would like to try again with my colleague Vanessa and see if it's possible for her to also present another amazing project on decentralized cooperation. Vanessa, are you with us now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Nice to have you with us,
Now?
Vanessa. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. It was a little bit confusing for me, this new platform. I don't know if I'm able to share the screen or...
Yes, you can share your own screen.
Because I don't know how to do it here.
You're supposed to have a button, a green button, and you can share.
It's nice to see you also, Vanessa. I can see you.
I don't know how to do it.
Okay. Is it possible for you to do your presentation without?
I don't know how to, because I'm sorry, I don't know how to share it, because I send it to Stan, but I don't know how to share it with this application.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. If you shared it to Stan, we will try and upload it as fast as possible on the platform, but maybe you can start already with your presentation with sharing some information about your project, and we will put the PowerPoint ourselves, if it's okay for Charlotte.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, so we started, okay. So in Tenado, we are working since like around 10 years, and the last 2 years, no, since 2018, we are working with under an approach based on the local development plan of Tenado, which was made in 2018 until 2020. So what we have done there is we channel the funds from our local governments. You can go ahead. The next slide. Next one. Yes, this is Tenado. The profile is 61 inhabitants, 54% are women, 18 villages, and we work with the city council, which is formed by 38 members, including just 4 women, and 10 agents working on the municipal administration. You can go to the next slide, please. Yes, this is what we're talking. How we work. It's our local government We channel the funds from our local governments, and we are building infrastructure and equipment in water for health centers and education. And then the municipality of Tenado is in charge of the maintenance of the infrastructure, and the national government is in charge of providing teachers or doctors, like the staff. And we support also with local NGOs here in Mallorca and local NGOs in Tenado. And our main priorities there, it's education, water, and health, and with a gender approach. So next slide, please. Yeah, so first, before we go to the diagnostic of SDG 6, what we did was to localize the SDGs in Tenado to see the level of alignment, or how many SDGs goals were considered inside the local development plan of Tenado. So we review the national social and economic national development plan to see also the level of alignment, the African Agenda 2063, and we try to, and we start to see the coherence with the 20th agenda, with the national development plan, and inside the local development plan. And for that we consider three parts of the plan, which it was like the challenges found in the plan, the principles that will guide the implementation of the plan, and the specific objectives of the plan. And once we consider the coherence between these three levels, we were able to identify the main objectives, the main SDGs of the local development plan. And we start a workshop with the community, with the municipality, to see if these prioritized SDGs were the same as the political needs, political intentions of the mayor. So if you want, you can go ahead, please. Yeah, this is like a template just of how we present the profile of the prioritized SDGs with the activities. It's not very good. The view is not very good with the activities, local indicators, and the parts of the administration on charge to implement these SDGs. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So the results that we got, it was like these were like the main SDGs for the municipality: health, work, and infrastructure. But we realized that the assessment shows that the SDGs are very low implemented in the local development plan. Just 22% of the SDGs are considered in the local development plan. There are a lot of gaps. Well, the main gaps are SDG 1, which was very weird because it's like the general and one of the most important SDGs, and it's not considered in the local development plan. And also SDG 11.1, SDG 12.5, and 5.3 are not very relevant in the local development plan. Even some interviews and with the population and with the other actors reveal that there are problems or needs to be taken regarding these goals. So we draft a roadmap to implement these SDGs and to improve the performance of the municipality regarding the 2030 agenda. And we are still in that process to implement this roadmap. By the way, there is so far there is a communal committee to monitor the implementation of the performance of the local development plan and the 2030 agenda. And you can go to the next slide, please. And oh, next one, please. Yeah. And well, the conclusion was that the study presents a mapping of the integration of the SDGs, as I said, and there is a huge need to work with the municipality to make them to understand better what the 2030 agenda is, and also to collect data to create real indicators to measure the achievement. It was very difficult to find available data for all these indicators, all these goals and indicators. And it is important to make a population to participate also of this process, because we realized that there were a lot of local initiatives that could bring a lot of information, and these initiatives could improve a lot of the contribution of the municipality to the 2030 agenda, but there is a gap between these local initiatives and the municipality. And yes, this is like very a short resume. And
Vanessa?
after we had this, yes.
Just to ask if it's
Yes?
possible to wrap up in 2 minutes, so that maybe if there's a question for you, because the session will
Okay.
end in 6 minutes actually.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I thought I had 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, just you can go ahead. Just like and then we did like the diagnostic of SDG 6. In Tenado, what we did was like first of this review of what was the local and national plans regarding to water, and then we start like doing like collecting data from the field. With interviews in schools and health centers and in households. And you can go next slide. Well, next slide, because this is the preparation phase and the diagnostic, just to have the results. And we use the methodology of the joint monitoring program. Next slide, because sorry, next one. Next. Next one. I thought I had more time. Yes, and next slide. Yeah, this is the methodology we use. Joint monitoring program is a methodology that the United Nations use to monitor the achievement of the agenda. And basically, in Tenado, they are in the basic and limited service. You can go to the next slide, please. Yes, in Tenado, no, the other one. 74% of the population, they have basic access to water, and 25% of the population have just limited access to water. No one has safe access to drinking water. And the same is for schools. 1 of 3 schools don't have access to drinking water, and 1 of each 4 health centers don't have access to drinking water. So you can go to the next slide. This is for goal 6.2. You can go to the next slide. We verify. And yes, and this in regarding to access to sanitation, only 6.6 of the household of the municipality of Tenado are equipped with a latrine. And the vast majority of this infrastructure and sanitation have between 16 and 30 years. 80% of the school have latrines, but don't have like they are not separated by sex, or even they don't have access for disabled people. And health centers all health centers have latrines, but they don't meet the standards. And in resume, we have all this information by each of the villages of Tenado. That brings us a lot of information to write an investment plan and a working plan according to the needs of each municipality. So this is like information in general terms. but now we have all the information in access to work by each village to put it in somehow. So we can prioritize our actions and our interventions according to these results. And we will share this information with our NGOs to start working and to start these decentralized cooperation projects in the most needs areas. So we can leave it here if you want.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. I know that your project is amazing, and you started out only between Mallorca and Tenado and Burkina Faso, and now you're adding other countries, if I am not misunderstood. So it's growing. It's a pilot project which is growing, and which is showing its great success also across different countries. And it's not easy, I'm sure, to coordinate, especially these days with limited travel on such a big project. So thank you very much for your presentation. I know we have a very, I think 2 minutes left. If somebody has a very quick question for Vanessa, or if she doesn't have time to answer, don't hesitate to leave them in the chat and we will share them with her and she can then respond, and we will get back to you with the follow-up responses after this event. So I don't know if somebody still wanted to perhaps take the floor for a quick question or a comment. Just a link, maybe? Okay. Well, in any case, I do hope that these two very inspiring presentations were interesting for you. Don't hesitate to share any relevant information on projects that you are doing as well in the chat. I think that you can add links yourselves as well. So we'll look at them very carefully. We will share them with our speakers and with you. And I hope that this has helped you in your international work as well. Just to let you know that there is the next Platforma Awards will be in 2022. So don't hesitate also to prepare your presentation or your application if you would like to present your project. And also I've been informed by my colleague that there is a call at European level until the 23rd of April for partnerships if you would like to apply for a European Union tender call. This will be the last one for this programming period. So you're all, of course, very welcome to join us in our advocacy efforts to make sure that local city-to-city, region-to-region projects across the world can continue to be financed by the European Union until 2027. So if you're interested in our advocacy efforts as well, do let us know. I know that VNG are very, very active on that, and we will keep you informed of other opportunities that are out there as well. So I think I'm out of time. I want to thank everybody for their kind participation. See you soon.